Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Zoning Board of Adjustment. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, folks, let's shut off cell phones, iPhones, iPads, anything that'll create a distraction of the proceedings. And in the event of an emergency, please exit to the rear of the room. Someone will assist you, and we're scheduled to terminate this meeting at 10 o'clock. That being said, if we can start with our introductions to my far left, please.
Jason Dragani.
Richard Tripp.
Crystal Morin, Secretary.
Lynn Perkins, Chair.
Jim Dietzel.
Bob Wentworth, Building Inspector.
Thank you. And Lucy Peoples is our clerk. She'll be in the back taking our minutes. Just a reminder, we're audio-video recorded. And with that being said, we have one case on the agenda for this evening that's presented by Jeffrey Moulton on behalf of...
Pardon me, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Do we have a member out in the airwaves?
I think we do, and Mr. Dragani is going to sit in for one missing member, which is Mr. Burgess. Thank you for that reminder. Mr. Corbett, are you there? I just saw him. Mr. Corbett? Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so Mr. Corbett is online, and if we can get our producer back to us. Mr. Molden, if you'd like to come up to the dais, that would be fine. And have you present. And Mr. Corbett, we'll get you, Mr. Preventure is just away into the control booth, so when he gets back, we'll have him get you more engaged. So, welcome, gentlemen. Mr. Moulton, nice to see you again. And feel free to start your presentation.
Thank you and good evening, and
Get
appreciate
right to
you
the,
coming out in the...
to the mic if you can. Right up against it.
I'm a little hoarse tonight.
Understand.
So
Yep.
bear with me.
Got it.
So my Mr. Hackett's going to help me out with some of the reading.
Got it.
So we're going to start with the reading into the record the first two pages.
Sure thing. Go ahead.
The variance will not be contrary to the public interest because the garage would have similar setbacks to adjacent properties. The garage allows for cars parking, less congestion, and better access for deeded neighbor ML 52/028.
I'm going to hold you up just a second. Mr. Preventure? Mr. Prevent, is your mic on? Can you look under your mic? Is the green light on it?
Mine?
Is there a little green light underneath it on?
Nope.
Okay, can you see that little gray button? Can you press that? Right on your mic. There you go.
Green light's on, yours is not.
There's a green light here.
Perfect.
This is on the other side.
All right, thank you, Mr. Wentworth. All right, gentlemen, go ahead. We just want to make sure you're on recording.
Do you want me to do the first one over again?
Does anybody need to hear the first one over again? I
Yes.
don't. Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
The
If you
variance
wouldn't
will
mind.
not be contrary to the public interest because the garage would have similar setbacks to adjacent properties. The garage allows parking, less congestion, and better access for deeded neighbor ML 52/028. The spirit of the ordinance is observed because proposed garage setback is similar to other structures in the neighborhood. The new garage setback of 7 feet on Jenny Dickey Hill Road is identical to existing house. Substantial justice is done because the loss to the owner would be covered parking, an in-law apartment plus continued congested access for owner and neighbor 52/028. The values of the surrounding properties are not diminished because the 7-foot setback is consistent with other neighborhood setbacks in the existing house. Value of ML/52/028 would increase due to better access. Little enforcement of the provisions of the ordinance would result in unnecessary hardship. For the purposes of this subparagraph, unnecessary hardship means that owing to special conditions of the property that distinguish it from other properties in the area, no fair and substantial relationship exists between the general public purposes of this ordinance provision and the specific applications of that provision to the property. The lot is narrow and has deeded easement through the driveway for ML 52/028. Parking and passage is congested, and the number of parking spaces is constrained. If the criteria in subparagraph A are not established, as unnecessary hardship will be deemed to exist if and only if owing to special conditions of the property that distinguish it from other properties in the area. The property cannot be reasonably used in strict conformance with the ordinance, and a variance is therefore necessary to enable the reasonable use for it. Thank you.
So noting that in section II, under that A paragraph for the hardship, the proposed setbacks are consistent with adjacent properties. I didn't hear that read out, so I'm just making sure it hits the record, okay? The addition will improve functionality, enhance access, and improve the neighborhood. I don't know if you mentioned that line, so I just want to make sure it's on the record. That's II under section A of the hardship. Okay, we've got it on the record, so that's fine. Is there any difference with that statement?
No.
Okay, very good. All right, Mr. Moulton, are you care to take on the technical aspects of what we're dealing with here?
Right. So, as mentioned, the lot does have some unique characteristics to it. The shape of the lot, especially at the entrance to North Shore Road, is very narrow. And then when you compound that, the need for the neighbor who is landlocked to have access through his driveway to his lot, it leads to a very problem with parking and places for cars. If you go to the plan on the last sheet, you can see a better view of that. Off North Shore Road to the right side, you can see coming in on the driveway, there's somewhat limited places to park, but at all times, he has to be able to give the neighbor to the far left, ML 52028, access to his lot, because he's landlocked. So the proposal is to add a 3-car garage with an in-law apartment, and there will be a common area between the two where that triangle is, so that you can go between both the in-law apartment and the house in a space that is heated and air conditioned. Excuse me. And you can see the 7-foot setback from Jenny Dickey Way is consistent with the existing setback of the existing house. Now, if you go up Jenny Dickey Way a little ways, you'll see houses with varying setbacks, ranging from 0 feet to 35 feet. So we believe this is consistent with the neighborhood. You can see in the pictures, the first picture being taken parallel with Jenny Dickey. The house would, the addition would come out and more or less parallel to that fence and be 7 feet off the border. And then the other picture shows the congestion in there right now with only 2 vehicles. But if they get multiple vehicles there, it becomes becomes a problem, as there's really no off-site parking. And the tax map just kind of demonstrates the isolation of lot 52028, where there is no way for that person or set of people to get to their house unless they go through Mr. Hackett's driveway. So we believe, due to the uniqueness of the lot, that there's not a lot of choices for the Mr. Hackett. But it is, what's being proposed is consistent in size and setbacks with other homes in the neighborhood, which, you know, being near Beaver Lake, it's seen a lot of transitions from these smaller lots with camps to year-round homes. Getting there.
Is Jenny Dickey, is it town maintained? Or is
Jenny Dickey, it's a private road.
It is, okay, almost like a right-of-way, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And I see it loops around. Mr. Provencher, can you give us more of an aerial view of that neighborhood? Higher, like a seagull. So I see Jenny Dickey comes back around into Beaver Lake Ave. Thank you, Mr. Provencher. And is that the only access that comes on to Jenny Dickey, is just from Beaver Lake or North Shore Road? Is it the two roads?
No, you can get from it from Beaver Lake Avenue.
Yeah. Okay. And is the main purpose of it just to take you down to the beach? Because this property has beach rights, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. And so is that the intention primarily of that right-of-way, is to give that passage? And is it for just more than your home? Is it several homes that have that right of passage?
There's easements all the way up and down the street.
Oh, got it, okay, yep. All right. The house is unique. It's been built on in different stages, as I recall, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Anybody have any questions? Mr.
Actually, I
Dragani?
do, yes. Is it a single-family house?
Yes.
Okay.
And you're showing two cars out on the street, are those your cars?
That's my wife's car and my car.
Yeah, okay.
That would be Jenny Dickey Way.
Excuse me?
That would be Jenny Dickey Way that the cars are shown on?
I don't understand.
The road that the cars are sitting on?
No, it's our driveway.
Oh, that's your driveway?
That driveway actually connects another house too, doesn't it?
5208.
It's
52
shared? Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
They have no access unless they come through that driveway.
Yeah, and then you have a retaining wall, and I see that noted on this map. You're gonna move that retaining wall?
Yeah, if you look at the drawing again, you'll see that we've allowed for about a 25-foot turning radius
Mm-hmm.
to get the vehicles into the garage. Otherwise, if we didn't push it back, it would be a very difficult backing in procedure.
But you have the parking down at the shed area, where the shed is shown on the property?
Yeah, there's one park there, yes.
It's room enough for one car or two?
No, one.
Yeah.
One small car.
And I think if you just drive past that shed that's shown here, that's how you get to the other property, correct?
Yes.
Mr. Dietzel, any questions?
No, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mrs. Moran?
No.
Mr. Tripp, anything else? Or anything at all?
so the only question I have is, this is going to be a setback relief. That's what the variance is for.
That is correct.
Okay, no.
Now, the proposal is showing 3 bays for a garage.
That's correct.
And you're looking to do an ADU, which is meeting the town's criteria, so we're not here to decide anything on that. Is the intention of the third bay for the tenant?
Yes.
Okay. I noticed the stairway on the back of the new garage, the proposed footprint, is that the stairway to the ADU?
That's correct, inside.
Okay. I think you have your work cut out for you on that relocating the retaining wall. I think that's a pretty messy area, as I recall. Yep. All right, anybody else?
I have a question.
Yes, sir?
Since Jenny Dickey Way is actually a private road,
Mm-hmm.
is there a setback requirement to be set back from the private road?
Well, the setback requirement is from the boundary, and for me, the significance of asking about the Jenny Dickey Way is because I thought that it was not a town-maintained road, but
Yes.
a right-of-way, which has been verified. And so it lightens my concerns about the setback issue.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Now that I understand. That it's a property line setback, not a road setback.
Well, it's typically one and the same, but they're asking for the relief and we see this commonly in New Hampshire around lakes and ponds. You see camps that evolve into all-season structures, or someone resides in them all seasons, but they may not be all-season structures.
Yeah.
And so a lot of properties just get packed and stacked on because these parcels were developed 100 years ago. And I know myself owning some property along a lake. If you looked at the deed of two parcels that I had, the history of the deed looked like the lots that made up one lot were traded on weekend poker games. And unfortunately, the deed that went with them reflected that. So anyway, I'm kind of clear on my questions about
Yeah.
this, the intentions. Anything else, Mr. Tripp?
Well, the reason I asked was that the landlocked lot, since it has no frontage,
Mm-hmm.
the rationale for the setbacks is the boundary lines,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Yep,
that was a little learning on my part.
got it. Mr. Corbett, anything you wish to add to us?
No, familiar with the area, familiar, with the restraints that they and a lot of the others there are facing, as you said. I think you asked most of my questions.
Okay. All right. Mr. Wentworth, you have anything you'd like to tell us about this?
I'd just like to read the request into the record.
Okay.
The applicants are requesting a variance to allow the construction of a 24 by 40-foot garage on their property, which will be less than 15 feet from the rear property line. The garage will have a second story and contain an accessory dwelling unit which, per the applicant's representation, will contain less than the maximum 800 square feet of living space permitted for an ADU. Just another side note, the property is located in close proximity to Beaver Lake, but appears to be the proposed construction will be greater than 250 feet from the lake, eliminating the need for state permits.
All right. And very good. Thank you, Mr. Wentworth. Gentlemen, you have anything else you'd like to add or share with us at all?
I received an email today from a neighbor, from Jen Perogue, who lives at 4 Dickey, Jenny Dickey, I'm sorry.
Okay.
This note is in support of Joe Hackett's proposed addition. The structure will only enhance the neighborhood The placement of it will not cause any hardships to any of the others. Thank you.
All right, very good. If no one else has any other questions, we'll go to public. Anybody out there that wishes to speak in favor of this application, this would be your opportunity to come forward. Likewise, there's some phone numbers posted on the screen. Anyone who's remote that would like to participate in this meeting may call 646-558-8656. The meeting ID number is 323-909-140. If you run into any technical problems trying to get through, we have an 800 number, not an 800 number. Sorry, kind of took this off guard here. Do we have that 845 number?
Anybody who wishes to dial in, you're going to dial 646-558-8656. Your meeting ID is 323-909-140. Anyone having technical issues, please dial 603-845-5585. Someone will help you.
That 845 number is the one I was looking for. Thank you, Mr. Corbett.
Yeah, it all comes
So
with
seeing
one.
no one
so.
rise here, we have anybody online there?
Mr. Chair, seeing none rise at this time.
Very good.
For your awareness, we just had Mr. Opimba join remotely, just for your awareness.
Okay, very good, thank you. Anybody who wishes to speak in opposition to this application, this would be your opportunity to come forward and have your thoughts heard, and that also applies for anyone who may be remote. Please press star 9 and we'll get you into the meeting. And Mr. Obimba, you all set?
I am, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Very good. And seeing no gestures there, Mr. Preventure?
Seeing none rise, Mr. Chair.
All right, slow night. So we'll consider that we've met the statute for public input. And that being said, if there are no other questions or other comments from the applicants, we can move into deliberation.
I have a question.
Mr. Tripp?
Since Jenny Dickey Way is a private road, I was just wondering, what is the width on that road?
What is the width?
Width,
About 15 feet. 15 feet.
about 15 feet? All right, thank you. Now, is that typically used as a one-way travel?
No.
Okay.
Kind of like being on a mountain pass.
I've been on some of those mountain paths.
All right,
Thank you.
very good. Anything else, Mr. Dragani?
No.
Okay. You all set, Mr. Dietzel?
set, thank you.
Moran?
I am all set, thank you.
All right, very good. So we'll take a motion, go into deliberation, please.
So moved?
All right, I need a second.
I second.
Mr. Dragani seconds. All in favor of going into deliberation, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Mr. Corbett, you wish to lead?
Yeah, not too much on this. I mean, to your point, the properties here are very oddly shaped, very tight. 3 bays, little large, but I think overall it matches with the property. I don't really have many objections to this.
Okay. Mrs. Moore?
I have a lot of the same feelings, and seeing that it's far enough away that they don't need a shoreline permit as well.
Okay. Mr. Tripp?
It's tight, but that's representative of other residences in the area. I don't see where this would be a
Adverse approval?
adverse to approve.
All right, very good. Mr. Dragani?
I'm going with the group. I really don't see there's a huge issue. I mean, that area is very congested, as is.
Well, I have good knowledge of that property, and just seeing that retaining wall pushed back will also be of service to the neighbor who also is served by that driveway. And I think that it's a relatively good fit. Myself being at that property a few times years ago, the garage will probably be a welcome addition to the property, give shelter, and probably help contain any runoff from the additional parking area. So I have no objections there. Let's look at structuring the motion. We just have town inspections and town permits and inspections. I personally don't see anything else that's relevant to add to this motion. Anybody else? Seeing no gestures there. Mr. Corby, all set?
Yeah, I think it's good as is.
Very good, thank you. So that being the case, we can make a motion, come out of deliberation.
So moved.
Mr. Tripp makes the motion. Mr. Dragani, you want to help again?
I will second it.
All right, very good, thank you. All in favor of coming out of deliberation, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Mrs. Moran, you have a motion to read.
I do, thank you. I make a motion on case number 25-102 for Jeffrey Moulton, owner, Joseph Hackett, to grant a variance to the terms of Article 6, Section 165-46.c.4 of the Town of Derry zoning ordinance to allow the construction of a 24-foot by 40-foot garage within 7 feet of the property line where 15 feet is required. Parcel ID 52026, zoned MDR, as presented with the following conditions. We have one, subject to obtaining all state and town permits and inspections, and that concludes the reading of the motion. I need a second, please.
I'll second it.
Mr. Tripp seconds the motion. That puts it on the floor. And we have the finding of fact. Mr. Corbett, that's usually up your alley. Is that something you're prepared for?
I don't have my template. I have my notes for it, but I miss our talking points. If you want to kind of kick it off, then I can dive in.
Yeah, if you'd like, go ahead.
The applicants were requesting a variance in terms of Article 6, Section 165-46.c.4 to allow the construction of a 24-foot by 40-foot garage within 7 feet of the property line where 15 feet is required. Property is zoned in the MDR area. And that's really all I had for this one. All other facts found during the meeting minutes are also included in this. This is what the board found for the finding of fact.
All right, very good. Thank you, Mr. Corbett. Anybody have any amendments or changes to the finding of fact?
No.
Seeing no gestures there. Therefore, we can move this for a vote. All in favor of moving this for a vote, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Mr. Corbett?
Vote yes.
Mr. Dragani?
I vote yes.
Mr. Tripp?
I vote yes.
Mrs. Moran?
Chair, I vote yes as well.
And Chair will make it unanimous by a vote of 5-0. So anyway, gentlemen, congratulations, your application. Well-fought battle. And you're approved. Anybody aggrieved by this, of course, has 30 days to ask for a rehearing or reconsideration on the matter. After that, recourse would be to Superior Court, but after the 30 days, you should be fine to go. All righty?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Have
much.
a good evening.
That's what I found on it, too.
What is that bill? It's a Senate bill,
Yeah,
84FN, huh?
And
Thank
it
you.
amends that RSA.
All right, hang on just a second. Where the hell is that other document?
Oy, oy, oy.
So many documents, so many little, so.
It
little
was
time.
tough.
A lot of thinking.
The agenda also talks about a meeting conflict, too, a date.
Yes, you know that one. All righty, so other business before this board. First of all, on April 3rd, there'll be a meeting conflict where the town council will be working on the budget. So that meeting scheduled for this room for the zoning board will not occur. It's possible that if there's any residual cases or anything that's half done at the second meeting in March, we might be able to clean that up in an alternative location, but we'll wait and see how that pans out. Next week, Wednesday, the 12th, the planning board is sponsoring a workshop, and it is, it's a zoning and increased density bill. It's a Senate bill, apparently. 84 FN is the Senate bill, and the planning board is hosting a joint workshop for discussions on how that House bill will affect Derry, and whether or not we wish to send anyone to speak to these bills or not. So that might be a good meeting for all of us to attend, and we can make note to the planning director if you wish to attend, and make note of that. And then,
Now, what day
Sorry.
is that?
that is the 12th on a Wednesday.
Did you have a time?
7 p.m.
2:12?
2/12, correct.
7 p.m. Do you know when the hearing on Senate Bill 84 is going to be?
I do not. Mr. Dietzel's going to help us. I'm sure if we look at the general court,
Looks like
Schedule?
it was, it
Yeah, well, I
passed
just
and
thought
the
maybe you
hearing
knew
was
already.
January 28th.
I'm sorry, Mr. Corbett?
Looks like
January-
the hearing was January 28th and it passed 5-0.
Oh,
All right, there you go.
All right.
5-0, so that was the committee.
yep.
Thank you, Mr. Corbett. There's still time to speak to that, am I correct, Mr. Tripp? Or will there be another hearing
Well,
on that?
Well,
there'll be a hearing in finance, and then there'll be a hearing in the House. So there's,
I know the planning board chairman did go up and speak to the matter the other day.
yeah.
Okay,
But we can always just watch the live stream.
all right. Well, at any rate, the workshop is next week, and we'll get some familiarity of how that will affect zoning here in Derry if that bill comes to fruition. So, other than that, I think we have 3 cases for the next meeting, correct? And that is on, let's say, the 6th. All right. So it's the 3rd Thursday of the month in this room. And other than that, unless there's any other business someone has, we can take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Oh, I'm sorry.
what about the meeting
hold that.
minutes?
Yep. We have the approval of the minutes from January 16th, 2025. Anybody have any amendments or changes to that? Mr. Burgess had made some changes, am I correct, Ms. Peoples? Correct? So if no one else has changes for that, we can have a motion to accept those minutes as amended.
So moved.
Could I have a second?
I'll second.
Very good, Mr. Dragani seconds that. All in favor of approval of those minutes as amended, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Mr. Corbett, you have any other business for us?
No, I'm good. I'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
Very good, thank you very much. Everybody have a good evening. And I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Dragani. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, we're adjourned. Have a good night, everybody.